This is day 216 of the Arukh HaShulchan Yomi. If you'd like to sponsor an upcoming shir of the Arukh HaShulchan Yomi or more, please contact me directly. It would be very much appreciated. Today we start off in Siman Kuf Nun Dalet Sif Yud Ches, and we finish today with Hilchos Beis HaKnesses, Emir Hashem, and start the very brief one Siman Hilchos Maso Maton. Yud Ches. Yesh mishkos v'shimot davar b'chotzer Beis HaKnesses zachabo. You find something in the courtyard of a shul, you acquire it. You don't say the chotzer acquires for hekdesh, for the shul. The chotzer kohen b'tam yad. The chotzer acquires because it's a yad, an extension. V'ein yad lehekdesh. There is no yad for hekdesh. V'tzorchim. The Arukh HaShulchan says, I'm not sure about that. Actually, I should say that this is the Magen Avraham name is Aguda, and the Arukh HaShulchan questions that. Mishpat. Siman Tzadik. Hey, the Hekdesh was the Idna, the Hekdesh today, Bein Aniyim, Bein Beis HaKnesses, whether it's to a poor person or for a shul, Ola Sefer Torah, Ein Lam Din Hekdesh, they're not considered to be really Hekdesh anymore. El Rak Din Hediot, Ayin Sham. They're considered to be like the status of commoners, and therefore they should have a yad. Now, that's Rav Hai Gaon B'Seir Mekach HaMemkar, merely go consider Hediot. Rav Hai Gaon holds that in terms of your a verbal statement being to hekdesh, being the equivalent of giving an actual gift to a common person, a common cause, and our hekdesh also have a din of hekdesh bedek habayis, which means that the moment you say you're making a pledge, you have to give the pledge. But he says, you know what? It could be questioned whether it's yad or not, but in any event, the person finds it, can acquire it. Because it's a place where many people are passers-by. When that's such a case, the person finds it, it's his. As stated in Choshen Mishpat. It says it twice. I'm not sure why you need the concept of ein yad lehekdesh if it is makom sham tzim sham, in which case the yad is ineffective. The Mishnah Bura writes that he seems to pass in the Magen Avraham that it does go to hekdesh. Okay, does go to the Beis HaKnesses, and he brings that the Magen Avraham says there's a machlokes about it. It's interesting. Okay, that's Mishnah Bura seems to be much more machmir on this. Of course, if you took it, you could say of a raya that the shul proved its halachas like the shul. Somebody who pledges something to a shul, or mitzvah, or donates actually something to a shul, or for other mitzvah, you can put a plaque on it. But it's always better for this to be done by many people than by an individual. Somebody who's an individual who stands and impedes other from taking part in the mitzvah, will be punished. Of course, there's from Sefer Chasidim. There are those pasuk when you sell a mitzvah, one person would give a little, and the second person a lot, and the second guy, who's the partner with the first guy, reneged. It wasn't a partner. Sorry. First guy bid $15. The second guy bid $30. Right? And now the second guy reneged. The first guy's got to give his $15 and get the mitzvah. And then that is Tzemach Tzedek. And actually, I was told in the Chabad, when they used to sell off the Aliyahs during Rebbe's lifetime, that if you made a pledge for an Aliyah, you'd have to keep, if it was bid for an Aliyah, even if you lost, you still have to give it, which seems like some variation on the theme of the Tzemach Tzedek. Anyway, and I'm in a cane. That's not the minhag. Even though by hekdesh would be the case, that the next highest bidder would have to take it. We don't necessarily learn tzedakah from hekdesh. So some things we do, some things we don't. Kuf nun hey mitzvah lechmi Beis HaKnesses Beis HaMedrash lilmod Torah. So it's to go from the shul to the Beis HaMedrash to learn. Of course, Sinam is so brachas. Kol Yitzim Beis HaKnesses v'nichnas to Beis HaMedrash. Somebody who loses the shul and goes into Beis HaMedrash v'esek v'teira and is involved in Torah zoicha mekabel b'nei shchina. In merits, we see the divine presence. Shnemar Yechumi Chayil Chayil. If they go from strength to strength, Yeroyal Elokim B'Tzion. They will be able to perceive the God in Zion. Therefore, after davening yikva es kavua limud Torah. Therefore, after davening, you should make a set time to learn Torah. For lo yavira es, you should not let that time ever be missed. Even if you think he's going to earn a lot by missing that time. V'yamin ba'Hashem, you should believe in Hashem, that will give him his reward. V'lo yafsid idea Torah, and he won't lose by learning Torah. Everything he needs to, that's decreed upon him to earn, he'll earn. And when you come to Shemaim, the first thing they judge you about is done your learning. Well, actually, it's not much. That's maybe it contradicts the next Gemara, but I guess it's one of the first things. Because next Gemara says, we're in Shabbos, that's Gemara in Sanhedrin. We're in Shabbos says, first question I ask you is with your honest, your business dealings, and then Kavati Mutar, whether you set time for Torah learning. If somebody doesn't know to learn, you should go to the base medrash, he gets schar for going. Or you should set himself up another place. You should learn a little bit, but whatever he knows. Whatever he can know. And you should think about his matters, the roast, to see, leave dok, and to check. But say and what he's doing. And if there's Pachas V'Sholom and Avera involved, he will separate himself from it. By the Torah, by the Torah, he's going to have awe of heaven. The Torah eats Chaim, the Torah is the tree of life. Below the Torah, and the Torah Ba'olam. Without Torah, there is no, aside from Torah, there's nothing good in the world. But called Efel, Uru, Usruach, and everything is vapid and a bad spirit. Base. Even if you're compelled to go for something very pressing, you might pasuk a halacha. You should learn one pasuk or one halacha before doing so. Before you go to the base medrash, you're allowed to eat breakfast. If you're accustomed to it. It's good to eat breakfast. Maybe our baby used to goof. So I would say breakfast is very healthy for the body. They said, 83 diseases have to do with bile. And they're all negated by eating breakfast. And 13 praiseworthy things said about breakfast. Says person from being overheated, being too cold, the sheeting reheat right. He can run 60, whatever they are, 60 measures. You can run 60 measures, and you will not be able to catch up the government and safeguard to somebody who ate bread that morning. But it said, get up early and eat in the summer because of the sun, and in winter because of the cold. And it says, you should serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's in Shema Zu. I'm sorry, not in Shema. It's in Shemos Chav Gimel. You should serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu Kriya Shema. Utfila, both. That's Voida. He'll bless your bread and your water. Zupas Melach. That's bread with salt, V'kiton Shemaim, and a container of water. If you do that Mikam Elach, afterwards, Vasirosi Machlam Kebech Hashem removes illness from your midst. In the bracket says that because the Pashachas ain't el betvua haruchoka min yishuv, that it's I'm not sure exactly what that is. Pashachas is only with grain which is distant from a city. That's a mistake. The Kaya Puta b'Shabbos on Vav and Beis Tolamar al Pisa. I ain't Sham. Okay, somehow I read the word Pisa as Puta, and later b'Shabbos Sham, and that gave him some sort of strange conclusion, which I don't think we have to get into. Mr. Burra says you should be kovea a place. To be kovea a place is something separate than going to the base medrash. In other words, you should have a place for Torah in the base medrash. Okay, you should have a place in the base medrash. According to Arukh HaShulchan, sounds like you need a place to which to learn, not a place in the base medrash. According to Mr. Bura, you should have a place in the base medrash which to learn. Bir Alocha says that breakfast, it seems from the tour is supposed to be a small meal, not a major meal. Solely Hilchos Pesach Knesses. Hilchos Maso Maton. Kufnun Vav. Seder Maso Maton. How to engage in one's wheeling and dealing, those commercial activities, and some of the halachos of midos. Okay, so we are supposed to do today the first 5 seifim. Afterwards, you should go to your activities. Call Torah Shenim Malacha, meaning commercial activities. Any Torah which doesn't have work accompanying it, Stova Betela, eventually the Torah is nullified. The Goresabon and causes one to sin. Because poverty causes a person to violate his own perspectives and the perspectives of his creator. If somebody has a craft, davar tovu, that's great. The person required to teach his son a craft. Able to teach his son his craft, the least as if he's teaching him banditry. So many people, I would say, to think that a craft is something which is degrading. It's a mistake. There are many Tanoim Amroim who were craftsmen. These are Medrash Brachis. Chaviva Malacha. Malacha is considered precious, even more precious. There's Pasha Aindal Brachis Rabbah. Mischus Avos. Being involved in craft and labor is more precious than having the merit of the forefathers. Sheschus Avos Hitzila Mamon. This merit of the fathers has saved money. Umulacha Hitzila Nafshos Nefashos, and work has saved souls. Shneimar says, Le'elokei Avi Avraham. If not for the merit of my father Avram, the God of my father Avram, the Gomer Kiatore Kam Shilachtani. This is what Yaakov Avinu is saying. You would have sent me out with nothing. As on Yibes Yagia Kapai, my poverty and the work of my hands. Well, Elokim Hashem proceed Vayochach Emesh, and he proved the last time he came to you, Lavan, in a dream. Klomar, meaning Shalorgo Lavan the Yaakov and Pigobo. Right, Lavan does not kill Yaakov because of the work. In other words, the okay of Abraham prevented him from Aeneas, but his work prevented him from being put to death. It's a great advantage for somebody who gets who's sustained by his own handiwork. If you eat your own handiwork, praiseworthy you, and it's good for you. It's praiseworthy for you in this world. It's good for you in the world to come. Which is all good. The Bir Halacha says that the Sfarim say that okay, the Arukh HaShulchan could be construed as advocating term der Cheretz. The Bir Halacha wants us to know that the Sfarim say this quote said for the masses, the Klal Olam, who cannot merit going up to a high madrega to be involved only in Torah. But individuals you can find at all times who can be on that high level. Because Baruch will certainly give them their income, especially if there are people who want to sustain somebody in order to learn Torah. Then, of course, he does not have to go out to work. Okay, so the Mishnah wanted us to know that. The Arukh HaShulchan goes on, he says in Beis, shall not make your melacha primary and your Torah secondary. Eliyasa Torah Sukva, make your Torah primary, melachta right, and your work secondary. And then you'll be able to sustain both. Rarely says well, that's fine and dandy, but the Zel B'Tam B'Chacham. That's why the Tam B'Chacham Ikar Iskar B'Torah, that was primarily involved in Torah. Kanvur Yodeh Simon Reish Manvav. Avo Baal Bais Tam L'Shavza. Regular Baal Bais can't work that way. About Stam Baal Bais ain't Mutul Chiyuv Rak Livoidim B'Torah. On a regular Baal Bais, on an average person, they only are supposed to set up times to learn Torah. V'osam Sholim B'Yomadim, and then these Baal Batim are asked when they go up to Shemaim, Kavatim Torah. Do you set up times to learn Torah? The time b'chacham shikar iskar b'Torah, because the time b'chacham was primarily involved in Torah. Lo shayach lomar kavati itim. It's not possible to ask that you set times. Shechiv alav limod tami kol yom v'chalali. It's required to learn all day and all night. How much b'chol parnasoso? So that's what's these parnasos. Much because we are day of Shem. I saw many years ago when I was learning Shalvim. It goes like 40 years ago. That maybe more. That Sefer called Binyan Olam, which is about the milos of learning Torah, says that even you see that even Bnei Torah have Nikvius 18 because during the First World War, when they took people out from the yeshivas to learn, so to work. I'm sorry, I think worked for the Turks and setting up roadblocks and such like. So they saw that they needed to have Kvius Itim in order to make sure to learn, even though they're Bnei Torah. So come time, it's like Ben Azmanim, when a person has to, even Talmid Chacham has obligation to be Kovei Itim. Gimel, Maso Matam Ben Muna, to deal with trust in commerce. Doesn't mean that you shouldn't steal, nor rob, or to make weights and measures which are false. This is not included in this principle. Those that can't somebody does this who rush or gomor. It's a complete rush of. Also, only Zo, you're not allowed to steal or to rob, only also to cheat. Bein Yudi, bein Ein Yudi, whether it's a Jew or a Goy, makes no difference. Midatorah belav al gnevas gzelas Ein Yudi. Midoraisi, you transgress the prohibition of theft on the theft and robbery of a non-Jew, Kamal Yehudi, just like on a Jew, Kamal Shkasa Rambam, Perek Al Migneva, like the Rambam writes. Over Torah Shulchan Aruch Mishnah Siman Shin Meches. El Kavana rather means Sheyeh Hein Shlo Tzerek V'Lav Shlo Tzerek. His word should be his bond, as they say. His yes should be his justice, and his no should be his justice. When he says, I paid wholesale on this so and so much, and it's so and so good, lo yishakir, should not lie, apachoshu in any way, shape, or form. And his involvement with other people should be pleasant. The dibur of a nachas, and you speak pleasantly. Lo yitzok, you should not shout, lo yicharef, nor curse, lo yichos, and not get angry. Sof adavar, and in the end, then he will get a good name in his business. And his parnasa will be readily available to him. Everybody trusts him. So he trusts in God and does his business, he will be surrounded by chesed. Part of also doing commerce with trust. You should not take an oath. Not a light one, nor a heavy one. To the point that nobody needs to give him an oath. They trust him on the basis of his word without him swearing. Make sure not to say Shem Shemaim for naught. Any place where people mention God's name for naught, Misa Mitsuya, death is present. The Chai Adam says even to say God or any other name of God, B'Lashon Chol, should only be said in a meaningful way. So the exclamation "Oh God" is one that should be avoided. You should not be careful not to take an oath, even for truth. The Yanai had 1,000 cities, and they're all destroyed because of the sin of taking true oaths. Which they were greatly accustomed. You should make sure not to make a partnership with a Arab. I think that's censorship. It means any non-Jew. Maybe he's going to become obligated with a shvua. And he's going to make a shvua in the name of his God. And he will transgress. Do not allow the names of foreign gods should not be heard on your account. Some people lean in our day and age. People don't take oaths by avodah zaras. Because their intent is for the Creator. Is the halacha shituf. They just join together the Creator with another entity. And we don't. There is no putting a stumbling block in front of somebody. They are not commanded not to make a shvua with more than one deity being mentioned. it's a question whether perhaps the animals are mishutif. According to most achronim, also means they're allowed to worship more than one God, but it certainly means, according to those that they're allowed to make a shvua in the name of more than one God, as long as one of them is the right one. Below to be valid and commercially without a partnership is mutter as long as it's not their holidays. But on their holiday, it's forbidden. Hey, Deus me other madrigal some show no zemizeh. The here literally means opinions, but the way we say it today, it's midos. Yesh misha like I said, Deus me neidasim show no zemizeh. Yesh mishu ragzon, the people who have a temper. Yesh mishu rachlev, the people who have a soft heart. Yesh bal gaiva, they're prideful people. Yesh daito shvelin, they're the humble people. Yesh achzari, they're cruel people. Yesh rachman, and there are kind people. Yesh kili, there are miserly people. Yesh pazan, there are spendthrifts. But there chayishah, the straight path is lechoz midas hamitzua, is hold on to the middle path, as the Rambam says, as Aristotle says, because the poles are not good. The rak begaiva, this is where Jews differ from Aristotle. In gaiva, and arrogance, pride, royally srachik, ala kotzachon, should go to the absolute end of minei shemusa, because it's a very repugnant trait. Very much. You should be low spirit. In other words, not hold firm himself. A person should never say, what can I do? This is my nature. A person is supposed to use his mind over matter. His mind over his nature. It is the entire obligation of a Jewish person. It's like the Gra says, which your life is to break the trait you have not yet broken. But you have to strengthen yourself in this. If not, so that's chobas, kol chobas Israeli. A person should always irritate, so to speak. In other words, arouse his Yetzer Tov over his Yetzer Hara. See, you have to go in his pathways. Just like he's kind, you be kind. Just like he bestows grace. So too, you should bestow grace. But you're guilty when you should habituate your nature to the ways of Torah mitzvah. It's good to be quiet a lot. By the way, Rakim Divrei Torah, not to speak just words of Torah, but Divrei Mitzvah, words of Mitzvah, and his commercial activity, and things which he is compelled to discuss.